Good morning, ladies and gents. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Today's math lesson is going to be about coordinate planes, ordered pairs, and just all kinds of cool graphing stuff today. This is kind of your introductory lesson into coordinate grids, coordinate planes, whatever word you want to call it. It's fairly simple, but if you have a couple kind of examples to do, I have no question that you will be a master at this. So I've kind of pre-drawn some stuff here with this to kind of speed this up a bit. So let me kind of get through and kind of talk about that briefly on what this is. So in order to understand what coordinate planes like 100% truly are, you've got to understand what you're working with in your graph. So I have drawn these axes, which is axi, whatever the plural form of that is. But we're going to start with kind of this one that's going sideways. Now, the better vocabulary word is horizontally. This travels horizontal. So the point of origin is always right here, which is always 0. This is where we always start. The point of origin is 0, always here. Now this axis travels this way, horizontally, sideways. Travels left and right, but we don't so much work over here because we're only going to focus on working on in quadrant 1, which is all positive numbers. Now yes, there's quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, but those are for like the geniuses that competed in the math competition. They know what I'm talking about. So the x-axis travels horizontally. Now the other axis, which is going vertically up and down, that is the y-axis. Y-axis travels vertically up and down, x-axis always travels horizontally. So think of it like as like a karate chop. So y-axis vertical, x-axis horizontal, vertical, horizontal, y-axis, x-axis. So just always kind of think of it like that. And if you need to do the karate chop motion, go for it. So when looking at this, I'm going to first start by kind of identifying these dots that have already pre-labeled on here. Now these dots are located at certain spots, but we haven't labeled our numbers. Now sometimes your axes, your x-axis and y-axis will be cut into like fractions and whatnot, and I think that's on your independent work, but we're going to kind of keep it fairly simple in labeling these numbers today. So we're just going to use whole numbers. So I've already labeled 0 because that's the point of origin. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now my y-axis starts at 0 as well, and we just travel upwards with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So these are only positive numbers for this example. So if I'm trying to find this lovely green turquoise dot right there, I always start 0. And I always have to go sideways before I go up and down. That is like the golden rule for figuring this stuff out. Always travel horizontally before you go vertically. So if I start at my point of origin, I have to move along my x-axis before I can even go up and down. So to find the green, I start at 0. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've landed here, X marks the spot. So I don't need to go up at all because I'm at my point of desired location. So the green dot, turquoise dot, whatever you want to call it, this location would be, and I'm going to put green, would be 5, 0. Now it is super important that you write these numbers like this. There's a certain rule to write this, and that is that this first coordinate is always, this is a coordinate. It tells you how many spots you travel along which axis. Now it always goes x and then y. You have to move along the x-axis before you go along the y-axis. So this is basically telling me I've moved over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for my x, and I've moved up 0 on the y-axis because I haven't gone up. which is how I've gotten this ordered pair as 5, 0. So an ordered pair is just the two coordinates, x and y, put together in one. So now if I'm trying to find my purple one, where's the purple? Right here. So purple, it's the same thing. I always have to go horizontal before I go vertical. Now, if I look, I can see that my purple dot is right here. I have not traveled horizontally whatsoever. So because I'm not traveling sideways horizontally, my x coordinate is 0. Because x always comes before y. So my x is 0. Now, if we were in class, I'd ask a lot of clarifying questions to make sure. So I hope this kind of clarifies in one example. So because I've not moved sideways, I go directly up. And I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm at my spot. I don't move. I found my purple dot. So then my y coordinate would be 5. Now, my ordered pair for purple is 0, 5. Now, the reason I picked these two examples, green and purple, is that they're the same numbers except for they're not really. And if you kind of have a misconception, you could easily get confused and miss this kind of question if it was styled to you in your work. Now, green is 5, 0, purple is 0, 5 for its ordered pair. Now, and that's where you have to understand that you have to go sideways before you go vertical, up and down. So green, I had to go along the x-axis and I didn't travel upwards at all. X is 5, y is 0. Now for my ordered pair for purple, my x is 0 because I haven't traveled horizontally at all. I've only gone vertical. So I've only traveled up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why it's 0, 5. I hope that kind of clarifies that. That's a tricky one that kind of always gets 5th graders. Now, and kind of finding the black is pretty simple. If you can understand the rule of always go horizontally before you go vertical, sideways before up and down. So black, in trying to find that ordered pair, and I'm running out of space, so I'm going to squeeze. Black is right here. Now I have to start at my point of origin, always 0, and I have to get to that dot. Now, in order to get to there, I have to go over 1, I have to go over 2. So my x coordinate in my ordered pair is 2. And my y, I have to go up now because I got to get to 7. So if I go over 2, I now go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my ordered pair for that is going to be 2, 7. That is my ordered pair for the black dot. So we have just identified the locations of these. Now I'm going to kind of plot some random points for ordered pairs. So if I have red, I'm just kind of thinking of an ordered pair. Let's go with 4. Let's go with 4, 1. In an ordered pair, when you have the x and the y coordinates, x is always first. And I know I sound redundant, as in I'm like repeating myself nonstop, but you've got to have this mastered. So x is always first, y is always second, meaning I always go horizontally before I go vertically. I'm really emphasizing that, okay? So if I start at 0, I go over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my y tells me to go up 1. So my red dot would be right here. My ordered pair for that is 4, 1. Blue, let's just say 8, 3. X is always first, y is always second. So I start my point of origin again, and I have to travel 8 because that is my x coordinate for the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I have to travel up 3 for the y-axis. 1, 2, 3. And last but not least, gold. Who doesn't like gold? Let's just say, let's do a tricky one. Let's go with 9, 0. Now, if you remember, you have to go horizontally before you go vertically. So if I started and I said, oh, I'm all the way there. Oh, hey, but first 9 is not even there, so just imagine. This would be incorrect because remember, which direction do you have to travel? Horizontally. Yeah, that's what I thought. Horizontal before you go vertical. So I have to start here and I have to go sideways before I can even go up and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My y coordinate tells me 0, so I don't even travel on the y-axis. So I stay put with right there. And that is my ordered pair for gold. So, I hope this kind of helps. Hope this wraps everything up. Fairly simple stuff. And remember, horizontal before vertical. All right, ladies and gents, hope this helps. Get your learn on. Work hard on that independent work. Peace out.